Hey kids, you like actors? What if I were to tell you that they're all a bunch of professional liars pretending to be something they're not? Oh, you'd say that perfectly fits their job description, and I should lay off? Okay, fair enough. Here's 10 actors who lied to get that coveted professional fraudster job in the first place. Let's start with one of the greatest liars of them all, the next Bruce Wayne up at bat, Robert Pattinson. And yeah, when I say liar, I mean like, dude just loves to fib, yo. Whether it's telling Seth Meyers that he used to rap under the alias Big Tub and the Tabby Cats, assuring Jimmy Kimmel he pleasured a dog on the set of Good Time, or that time he explained to Matt Lauer the fictional time he saw a clown die as a child.
His little car exploded. The joke car exploded on him.
He's nothing if not an entertaining interview subject. But going way back to the start of his career, Robert Pattinson actually got on his current megastar career path by, well, lying. Well, sorta. His career technically began with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, a role he got partially due to the casting director having felt guilty after his part had been cut from the film Vanity Fair. After that, however, things took a bit of a downturn and he found himself unable to get work. So after heading to Los Angeles to try another stab at a career, he started to claim he had attended prestigious acting schools like the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art and Oxford, saying specifically that people tend to believe you when you have a British accent. Unfortunately, this did start to lose traction when more British actors started moving to LA, but that's okay. After seemingly one final failed audition and an eye toward quitting, Pattinson snagged an audition for the role of Edward Cullen in Twilight. The rest is, of course, history. Oh, and actually, bonus entry for our Pat, in order to get the role of Batman, he had to lie to Christopher Nolan. See, at the time of the audition for what would become the Batman, Pattinson was working on Tenet and had to sneak away from the set. He told Nolan that he had a family emergency, to which Nolan reportedly responded, "You're doing the Batman audition, aren't you?" Only more British. Although who knows, that's from an interview with Pattinson, so that could also be a lie. In one of our previous videos on this topic, we talked about how Daniel Craig would lie about being able to ride horses to get roles until one day he wound up having to actually learn in order to play his role in Cowboys and Aliens. Similarly, actress Phoebe Dynevor lied during her audition for the hit series Bridgerton, despite insisting throughout her life that she was scared of riding horses. This one turned out pretty well. Not only did she wind up getting the role in a critically acclaimed Netflix original, but she also wound up with a newfound love of horseback riding. Yay. Another actor who landed a part in a major Netflix series is Sadie Sink, who plays Max in Stranger Things. As you might remember, a big element for that character is that she rides a skateboard. It's the whole 80s tomboy thing. Only problem was, Sadie had no experience with skateboarding, which she did tell the casting director, only to be asked if she could roller skate. As Sadie says in interviews, this one's technically only a white lie. She said that she did, although she hadn't actually skated in well over a year. Still, she managed to get through her auditions, including one where a pair of skates sitting in a corner nearby made her slip up and admit to the lie, and got the part. Hence, her being on this list. Not a whole lot of surprises on the outcomes here. Before he became Aquaman, and even before he showed up as the breakout hunkalunk of Game of Thrones, Jason Momoa began his career on Baywatch Hawaii. The future superstar, then just 19 years old, only went to auditions so he could be an extra, make some additional cash, and meet chicks. Which, yeah, that's the Aquaman way. During the audition, he was asked if he had any modeling or acting work, to which he just straight up fibbed and said he'd worked as a model with various major brands like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, and he just kind of snagged the lead role in the show. Easy as that. Remember, kids, just be aggressively handsome, charming, and lie your ass off, and you too can make your dreams come true. Speaking of handsome and charming, Idris Elba started his career in entertainment as a DJ called Big Driss, but in his 20s decided to get into acting, which, look at that face. Of course he did. Elba got his start with little to no lying, as far as we know, and appeared in various English television programs and gained quite a bit of recognition for looking like the kind of guy you definitely want to see voicing an animated echidna. He even had a starring role in the 1998 miniseries Ultraviolet, which is, quite simply, super rad. Then he moved to New York City to expand on that career and managed to get small roles on Law & Order and the short-lived series Hack, before nabbing an audition for David Simon's The Wire. The only problem, of course, was that Simon wanted only American actors in the show, and Elba was from East London. The casting director informed Elba of the issue, and he proceeded to strictly use an American accent in his audition. And he made it to the 4th round of auditions before being asked about his upbringing, at which point he admitted to the ruse. David Simon was so impressed by this that he gave Elba the part of Stringer Bell, thereby launching Idris Elba into pop culture history and guaranteeing his spot in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as God intended.
Do I look like I need your power?
Laura Fraser, the Scottish actress who played Lydia in Breaking Bad, also lied about the words coming out of her mouth during her audition for that cultural touchstone. Notably, Lydia can speak German in the show, and so the casting department had that skill as a requirement for the role, having presumably learned at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama that lying is always the best policy. She told them she could speak German. This one is technically another little white lie, as she had learned some basic German in school, but not the corporate speak that she had to command in the show. Still, when she got the script, she learned it, despite it being a massive challenge and taking days just to learn a single paragraph. Then there's Jameela Jamil, who, like Jason Momoa, had no acting experience before landing a huge life-changing acting role. To snag the part of Tahini in The Good Place, a show that did in fact make me cry like a small child, she had to go through quite the little life story. See, before she got into acting, 21-year-old Jamil was an English teacher in the UK who was approached about becoming a TV presenter, and thinking, why not? After hearing how much it paid, she said yes. Now cut to just a few years later, and she was a huge success with a few stumbling blocks along the way. Then in 2015, she had a cancer scare that, although it turned out to be nothing, thank goodness, decided to pursue acting. Miraculously, she scored an audition for The Good Place, where she told the casting director that she'd acted on stage, which was another white lie, as she had done some acting in school, but not in a professional capacity.
Oh, I was Baz Luhrmann's muse for a while. That was quite fun.
When show creator Mike Schur asked if she had done improv, she flat out lied and said that not only did she love it, she had done loads of improv back in England. And the lie, coupled with her natural talent and charisma, worked.
You know, sometimes a flaw can make something even more beautiful. Like with Cindy Crawford and how short she is.
Now going back to the only reason I wanted to do this video in the first place, George Lazenby. The only actor in the Eon production James Bond series to portray the character just once, had quite the journey to semi-stardom. If you want the full fascinating story, you can watch the 2017 documentary Becoming Bond. The long and short of it is that Lazenby was a successful male model in Australia when Eon Productions found themselves in the quandary of having to replace Sean freaking Connery after he quit the role following You Only Live Twice. Lazenby was living in London and was told about a potential audition by a casting director he had dated. Being the kind of guy who took what he wanted and deciding that being James Bond would do just fine, he set out to make himself look the part. He went to Connery's barber and tailor, the latter of whom presented him with a suit Connery had rejected, but which fit Lazenby perfectly. He also got the same watch as Connery, because he was just in it to win it. Then a separate casting director brought him to the office of Harry Saltzman, who motioned for Lazenby to sit in a manner that Lazenby didn't particularly take to. Being the ultimate fountain of machismo that he was, Lazenby instead walked to the window of the office and looked out, a power move which impressed Saltzman. However, Lazenby ultimately wound up spilling the beans to director Peter Hunt, who remarked, "What? And you say you can't act? You fooled two of the most ruthless men I've ever met in my life. Stick to your story, and I'll make you the next James Bond." And you know what? He did. Then Lazenby, he screwed it all up, but hey, we got one of the best Bond films of all time out of it, and Lazenby, he got to make B-grade action flicks like The Man from Hong Kong. Everybody wins, I guess. Now going back to Brits lying about their accents, British thespian and comedy genius Hugh Laurie saw the casting department for House was looking for a quintessentially American person for the titular role. Now while on the set of Flight of the Phoenix, Laurie recorded an audition tape in his hotel bathroom without letting his English accent slip through, and it was convincing enough to get him into the casting process and eventually, much like several others on this list, into the pop culture lexicon.
Thanks for playing stupid American child.
And finally, let's end on Serenity star Anne Hathaway's casting in Brokeback Mountain, wherein she lied about for goodness sake, it's another horse one. Yeah, she told director Ang Lee, nay, lied to Ang Lee about her experience, apparently at the urging of her parents, which, yeah, parents out there, don't tell your freaking kid to lie about horseback riding. Jeez. Anyway, she did practice, but come time to film, she found out that the horse she would be riding only responded to verbal commands, which she didn't know, and therefore quickly had her secret exposed. Yeah, then she was still in a freaking Ang Lee movie. This happens a lot, honestly. Eddie Redmayne did the same for his role in Elizabeth I, and Rachel McAdams lied about loving horses when preparing to work on To the Wonder, despite being allergic to them. Which, I mean, you know, to be fair, I would also lie my ass off to be in a Terrence Malick movie. Still, guys, don't lie about these things, even though it almost always works out for the best and become a huge star. Man, this list sets a terrible example.
I mean, yeah, come on. You know you're gorgeous.
So like my parents had to like everybody ran out. It was terrifying.
That's